What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, it's finally time to talk about Wargreymon X-Antibody, which is a pretty exciting card that I know a lot of people are looking forward to, because why would they not be? It's Wargreymon X-Antibody, but we do have some of the other cards in the line that we need to take a little bit of a look at as well. Now, we did very recently have a look at Coromon. That just gives you an extra 1,000 power if the Digimon has Agumon or Greymon in its name. It's fine. If you're playing this kind of deck, it's lovely, it's nice, it'll do. It's not exactly the kind of thing we're getting super excited about, but it's a nice bonus. But we do need to talk about Agumon X-Antibody here. Now, 3 cost to play normally, 0 cost to Digivolve, 2,000 power. Honestly, all fairly standard. And something you probably should be expecting at this stage, let's be honest with you. It's, well, it can Digivolve from Agumon for a 0 cost. And we see this all the time. This is extremely standard. It's what X-Antibody cards do. It's gives you a card when you Digivolve, and it lets you take advantage of inheritable skills or anything along those lines. And let's face it, right? We're not exactly hurting for Agumon right now. You know, we got the really nice one. If you turn into Agumon Bond of Courage, you get security attack +1. That was, I mean, it's very specific, but it's kind of nice. I like that. Or the one from EX1, when you attack, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck and add a Tamer or a Digimon card with Agumon to your hand, which seems like it might be kind of useful. Or the promo that if your name contains Greymon, you gain 2,000 power. There are a bunch, and it's Agumon, right? We are going to get plenty more of these in the future. I mean, you could just go for the one from the starter deck that gives you an extra 1,000 power regardless of who you are. My point is, we've got some good inheritable skills you can take advantage of. You'll be fine. And you get to have all of those inheritable skills, or choose between them. You get to have an extra card that you draw when you Digivolve up, which can be very useful to try and draw the things you need to get out of whatever hole you might find yourself in. Quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, it's a nice little skill. We see it on a lot of these. It ain't that special. What else you got for me? Well, when you play or Digivolve, love that it's either, you reveal 3 cards on the top of your deck and add an X-Antibody, remember we are talking about the option card, and a card with Greymon or Omnimon in its name from among them to your hand, placing the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Cool. If you're playing any kind of Greymon or Omnimon deck, this is great. It's extra consistency. Love it. Plus it gets that X-Antibody option card as well, which is not to be sniffed at. And it's an and, not an or, so you can get 2 cards if you're lucky enough to see them both in the top 3 cards. This is cool, ladies and gentlemen. This is cool. It's going to give you consistency. We like it. But we really like Greymon X-Antibody. Now, we've got a 5 cost to play normally, 2 cost to Digivolve, 6,000 power. Loving the 6,000 power. That is a fair bit higher than we would generally expect. Well, not a fair bit higher, but it's higher at least. It is higher. But by the same token, it's a bit more expensive to play, and that makes me a little bit sad. But once again, for a single memory, you can Digivolve from Greymon, and that's really rather nice. Same things we talked about before. Honestly, with Greymon, let's not beat around the bush, starter deck. The one for the starter deck that just gives you a flat security attack +1, that's the one. I mean, there are others, don't get me wrong, but there's a reason the red starter deck is very hard to find, and that is one of the main reasons, because that Greymon is nuts. So go for that one. And then we've got a ridiculous inheritable skill. If an effect would delete this Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, or return it to its owner's hand or deck, you may prevent it from leaving play by discarding 2 cards with the same level in this card's Digivolution cards. I.e., if you go level 4 Greymon into level 4 Greymon X-Antibody, and your opponent tries to delete you or otherwise get rid of you using an effect, you just trash the Greymon and the Greymon X-Antibody, and then you survive and carry on with your day. That's crazy good. Love it. We did, of course, see this on Wargreymon X-Antibody, which is lovely, although that was slightly different. That was if it would be deleted by battle. This is if it would be deleted by an effect. So they are ever so slightly different, but they're still absolutely ridiculous skills that, you know, you can be up in your big level 6 and your opponent drops an option card to try and get rid of you because, let's face it, your opponent is often a mean person who's trying to beat you. It's kind of the point of the game. Although most people are nice deep down. But the point is, they try dropping something like a Gaia Force, another great thing from the starter deck. Yeah, it's not going to work. Well, I mean, it'll get rid of your Greymon and your Wargreymon X-Antibody, and that's annoying, but it won't get rid of your level 6, and that's what we're going for here. Absolutely ridiculous skill, makes any deck using this way better. And incidentally, like we've talked about with a bunch of these X-Antibody cards, even if you're not playing an X-Antibody deck or anything like that, if you're just playing a regular deck with Greymon in, consider putting a couple of these in. Because essentially, it's a 0 cost to Digivolve, and you draw a card to replace this when you play it, or Digivolve it. So, it's just a little tech you can put in your deck to give you protection from being deleted by effects. I love the idea of having it just for that layer of protection. But then we move up into Wargreymon X-Antibody, and this is something that we maybe should be getting a little bit excited about. You see, what we've got here is a 12 cost to play normally, 4 cost to Digivolve, 12,000 power. That's big, we expect 11 free 11, but it's kind of worth it. Firstly, you can Digivolve from a Wargreymon for a single memory, which is clearly awesome. Here, somewhat upsettingly, there aren't any good inheritable skills from that level 6. Or is there? Because let's not forget the level 6 Wargreymon from BT9 did have an inheritable skill. When you're attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3,000 power or less. No, it's not stunning. It's fine, but it's very limited. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong. Like, deleting a Digimon is good. It's just very limited in what you're able to delete. But having said that, it's still an inheritable skill. I don't know if you're going to be playing that Wargreymon, but I'm saying it is at least an option if you want to have an inheritable skill to take advantage of. And don't forget that if you've got your Wargreymon X-Antibody in your evolution sources, then going Wargreymon to Wargreymon X-Antibody to Omnimon will then allow you to save Omnimon from being deleted by trashing the two of them. It's an option, ladies and gentlemen. It's absolutely an option. But then on all turns, when a card is removed from your opponent's security stack, gain a memory. And that just seems spiteful. That's like adding insult to injury. Your opponent doesn't want to lose cards from their stack. When they lose cards from their stack, they're probably going to be a little bit sad, and then you're gaining a memory on top of it. Yeah, not fun for your opponent, a little bit mean if I'm honest with you, but certainly a good bonus for you, especially against a yellow recovery deck that is going to be constantly recovering and losing far more security than in other decks. Yeah, that's going to be even more fun. Then, at the end of your attack once per turn, if this Digimon has either Wargreymon or X-Antibody in its Digivolution sources, remember that means the option card, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with power less than or equal to this Digimon's power. Now we're talking. That inheritable skill on the BT9 Wargreymon that can only delete a level 3, nah. And even then, a weak level 3. Okay, some level 4s. But really weak Digimon. This, yes. Because bearing in mind, right, 12,000 power is already slightly above the average for a level 6. If you Digivolve from Koromon, it's not 12,000 power, it's 13,000 power. If you go from the Promo Agamon, then it's not 13,000 power, it's 15,000 power. And bearing in mind, when you have 15,000 power, there's like one Digimon that's actually got more than that naturally. Love it. And there are other ways to boost red, let's be clear. You know, red boosting power, it's their thing, right? It's what they do. We can look at the 2-cost Taika Mia from the starter deck again, that just flat out gives you an extra 1,000 power. Boom, now you're at 16. Nothing that hasn't been boosted up will survive. And that's wonderful. Absolutely, genuinely wonderful. Because now it is at the end of the attack, and that's really important because it means that you've got to survive, and it also means that you cannot attack a big Digimon but then just get rid of it before you've even started. You've got to actually go through the attack. Only really relevant if you've got equal power, but still it's something to consider. I love this. This is basically, you know, you can very easily, like I've shown you, you can very easily beef this up to basically make it, you attack, Oh yeah, and then at the end of the attack, you delete whatever you want. I cannot be the only one that thinks that's really cool. I'm not. It's definitely really cool. This is a very, very good skill, a very, very exciting skill, and this is something, honestly, that makes it worth it. This is something that is absolutely worth playing the card for. And now we can start playing around with all the other stuff that leads up into it. But we needed a reason to actually go for this card. And it's not the Digivolving from Wargreymon, although that's a nice little bonus. It's not the slightly higher than average stats, although that's a nice little bonus. It's this skill. This skill is ridiculous. Although gaining memory when your opponent loses a security card is also kind of funny and mean. And before we finish today, there is an option card we should probably have a little bit of a look at, because it's clearly fitting in with ease. It's Gaia Force Zero. And we've seen a bunch of option cards with Gaia Force in the name, like, Gaia Force, and generally they tend to be good at getting Digimon off the field. Well, it costs 8, so it better be gosh darn good. When this card would be used, if you have a Digimon with X-Antibody in its Digivolution cards, remember that's the option card, reduce the memory cost of this card by 2. Okay, so now if you've got anything that's got X-Antibody in its evolution cards, it's a 6 cost, that's better. And as a main, you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 13,000 power or less. Then one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name may attack a player. Yes! Love it. Now, it's not quite Gaia Force, because most level 7s have more than 13. Not all do, some have 13. But most level 7s have more than 13, so generally this will get level 6s and below, it won't get level 7s. But then you get to make an extra attack. Now, I'm assuming at this case, it won't be with an unsuspended Digimon, that's pretty obvious. But what it will allow you to do is, for instance, attack the Digimon you've just played. Because, generally speaking, you can't attack with a suspended Digimon, they're at rest, and you can't attack with a Digimon you've just played. But this specifically lets you attack, and it's got to be with one you wouldn't be able to attack with anyway, otherwise what's the point? And I still don't think it's going to let you attack with suspended Digimon. They are suspended at the end of the day. I think what it's doing here, and we'll see when the official FAQ comes out, but I believe what's going on here is it's essentially going to allow you to give rush to a Digimon with Greymon in, let you attack when you shouldn't be able to attack. Yes, love it, brilliant, expensive, but when this works properly, totally worth it. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, lots of exciting red Digimon and an option card to talk about. But now it's over to you guys. How much do you like these cards? Do you think they're great? Or are you slightly disappointed? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.